Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. His name is Mike Pachan. Mr. Mike, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well this morning. Thank you so much. You nailed my last name, man. Great job.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike, for the opportunity. Firstly, you are the creator of MRHA movement. Can you please, Mr. Mike, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Pachan out here in Denver, Colorado. I spent 13 years in the legal cannabis marijuana industry, bringing brands to market, kind of creating unique brand stories, brand messages, brand voice around them. Um, Finished that part of my career up, got into the trades. So now I'm with Blue Peaks Roofing. And again, just looking at creative ways to kind of get the brand out, the brand messaging, look at what people are doing and are not doing in the trades. So we thought Murha was a good play on not only a gap in the industry, but also over here in America, a little contentious political scene. So we thought, why not play off that? Right? You're going to get noticed either in a good way or a bad way, but either way, you're getting noticed. So Murha is Make Roofing Honest again. It's a play off the contractors that we work with and compete with, and also a play into the market that we're trying to capture. So it works both ways.
Exactly. We definitely hope for the best for the market. So you guys will definitely have more improvements in the business you guys are trying to build. And I would like to also dive to the your book, Mr. Mike. Have you written any book, Mr. Mike, or are you planning to write any book in the coming future, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, I've had people ask me that a couple times. Maybe down the road, if I could find someone to help co-write the book with me. Right now, the focus on is getting back onto the podcast scene, which I was heavy into in the cannabis space, and then also back on a little bit of social media with a presence now on LinkedIn. So we're going to start to capture through video and content editing some of the stuff that we do internally that I'm bringing to Blue Peaks leadership, coaching, mentoring. So maybe here in the next year, year and a half, maybe we'll get that down on pen and paper as well.
Definitely. We definitely hope for that, Mr. Mike. I would also like to dive to the point of team, Mr. Mike. You know, we definitely know that when a team is going well, definitely there will definitely be ups and downs when there is a team. As your experience, you know, you're a business person, so you are more experienced in those areas when it comes to cultivating teams, creating winning among team, making team to survive, to even have more understanding within each other. So I would like to dive into that area, Mr. Mike. How do you think it's true, or what do you think it's truly mean to cultivate winners within a team, Mr. Mike?
No, that's a great question. So, you know, for me, it's taking a look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats within each person, right? Not everyone is going to be perfect at all the expectations that you're bringing to the table. But what are their core strengths, leaning into that, and then helping cover gaps where they're going to have weaknesses. So, for instance, a really good sales guy is not going to be the best at paperwork. So maybe you need to give a little leniency and have some backstops on their paperwork if their core target and goal is selling deals. The admin team behind them may have to support them a little more with paperwork, but their brains may not be wired to go out and close deals. So we call those compartments and we kind of see them as gears. How can those gears help each other thrive and move um, in a non-competitive way? So if you look at a vehicle, right, you have your transmission that spins, that interacts with a differential to differentiate that energy out into the wheels to get them moving. The transmission makes a great transmission. It makes a poor differential, but they work together really well. Um, and then upholding standards inside the company that everyone has to knock out of the park regardless of their strengths and weaknesses. So, for instance, good communication. You don't have to do paperwork great, but you have to communicate like a rock star, or else that admin team cannot help the sales team cover those gaps. For instance, if the admin needs something to help fill in that paperwork that they're not good at doing, if the sales team isn't communicating like a rock star, that gap coverage is going to fail. So you have blanket items that absolutely have to be done, perfectly, but then you allow gimmies inside of individual strengths and weaknesses to help those two components come together.
That is very, very beautiful, Mr. Mike. Obviously, definitely when those people know their strength and weakness, and also getting people to the right role they are meant to be is very, very important. And that is a very, very big insight because when someone is doing writing and is also doing another thing, definitely there will always be a lot of issues. But if they are doing it differently and they are good at it, it will definitely improve. And that's what dive into the point of people realizing what they are actually good at. Within a team we know there might be some way someone will realize this is what I'm actually good at and this is what I can focus on within this team. So what do you think? You think there are any obstacles that probably prevent team from or someone in the team from realizing their full collective potential, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. If you see team members, so the way that I see a company hierarchy breaking down, you have your C-level operators who are pushing the high level vision for the company. You have your leadership team below that's tasked with taking that vision and implementing it down into a workable strategy. And then you have your team down below that's executing that strategy. If any of the people on the third layer are not executing properly, it's a leadership issue or it's a C-level issue, bottom line. It's never those team members' issues because the leadership in the C-level hires the team members down below. They hired wrong. The leadership and the C-level people are in charge of the onboarding, training, coaching, mentoring, leadership strategies. If those aren't being done correctly, then you're going to have issues on that third level. That's a leadership and C-level issue. Look up. If you're having issues in your company, look up. And that's where you need to start to rehire or fire at is that's not running correctly. And it's never a bottom level issue. It's never the third tier issue. It's always the first or second tier issue, hands down.
Leadership is very, very important within a team. That shows that for someone to lead a team, he has to have a lot of qualities because if there is definitely issues, then someone have to look up there. Why is this happening? Then definitely we have to look at the leadership area, which is very important. It's definitely not easy to be a leader then. So thank you so much
And I
for the.
just want to notate that like leadership in general is not a difficult item. People make it into something that's very complicated. If you just ask questions, you're a good leader. Bottom line. If you show up and you're consistent and ask questions, you're a good leader. Bottom line. So it's not even that difficult of a program to implement inside of a company. Now, to be a standout all-star leader, yeah, that's going to be a little more complicated, but to just get the process of leadership going, if anyone out there listening is like, I would like to start leading people, start by asking questions.
That's very brilliant. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Mike. And I would also like to dive to team that you said this earlier that if there is some issues within the team, someone should look up there. But what do you think are the strategies to reinstall probably as a leader or as a team as a whole? How do you think they can reinstall that confidence within themselves? And how do you also personally what do you think are also the essential traits to inspire more winning behavior across the team after developing this confidence? Mr. Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. So the confidence is going to come from the brand, right? And people say brand a lot. What does that mean? The brand is going to have a voice. The voice is going to provide a message to the team and to the marketplace. And then that message is going to develop the culture that runs the company, right? So that's sort of the fuel inside the company that creates the combustion that gets energy moving inside the system, right? If you have that, and then you have the combustion, and your systems are strong inside inside the company, you're going to have winners, right? Because the winners are going to have momentum, and that momentum is going to take the system down the track, right? So again, it's really that easy. So you have your company and you're out there and you want to grow it, you need to bring on a quality team of people who are going to be able to delegate and direct, but then get out of the way, right? So my job is not to be doing a lot of the day-to-day items. it's to be overseeing the working team who's doing those items day to day and help them take the strategy that we've coached and trained and implement it consistently day in and day out, which I've done throughout my career. And I've been successful financially, as well as just in a sense of upward momentum, right? So now, if I give that strategy to the working day to day team consistently, they're also going to win. And we've structured the company where we want our people to win. We financially reward them. We reward them with upward momentum. We reward them with company trucks. We reward them with more tools, and you know, lunches are provided, and we provide them different outlets when they're not at work every time they win, and that keeps them wanting to win more.
That is very, very inspiring. Gifting them and also giving those necessary strategies to definitely improve those member, and also knowing how to maintain it is very important within a team, and that will bring more winning within the team. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Mike. And also, Mr. Mike, I would like to dive to that point. You said it momentum. So, do you think, how do you think one can also sustain that momentum in a long term? And success over time, over winning culture that has already been built. Now the confidence is there. How do you think it can continue to go on like that? The momentum can continue to go on a long term, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that is actually more of the hard part, right? A lot of small businesses will get these systems working and then think that they're self sustaining, right? And they're not. Look at it from another perspective, like working out, right? You want to gain some muscle, you want to be able to run longer, you want to eat better and lose some weight. You get the job done and then you get bored or complacent with it and you stop the habit. And what happens? You go backwards. The consistency inside the systems from a leadership level is the exhausting part. Being consistent takes a lot of effort. It's difficult to be organized. It's super easy to be chaotic and sporadic. So when people look at, like, okay, so I'm a leader now, my job is not to do the day to day, what do I do? If you're asking yourself, what do I do? You don't get it, because there's a lot to do, and that's being consistent. Open up your calendar and look at your week. Every Monday, I sit with the team that does the legwork for 45 minutes to an hour in high value meetings with every person. And we just go through their client board. Tell me where this person is at. Tell me the last time you spoke to this person. How is this job going? What challenges do you see in this job? When this person answered your question like this, how do you think you should proceed? Why do you think you're stuck here? How do you think you could have done this more strategic so you didn't have to send 4 or 5 additional text messages? You could have got the job done in one. So we review them, and I just ask questions the whole time, which makes them think and become more strategic, therefore more self sufficient. And then their deal wins go up and they become more winners, right? And then on Tuesday, my day is structured to do social media content. So I have to wake up and be creative and get right. So I just have a consistent schedule across the board, and I'm always getting things done and feeding the social media team the content they need, feeding the sales team the strategy that they need, helping those guys come together in a team meeting so I can stop hosting them and back out and hire more people. So, you know, finding what works, but then scheduling it out so you're always doing those things. Otherwise, you're going to, stop going to the gym, so to speak, and miss 3 weeks and never go back. That consistency becomes the job.
That means living a life or more organized life is very important when it comes to leadership and also building a team. And time is very precious, honestly speaking. If one do not manage it well, definitely, as you said, one can just be doing the gym and definitely one will not just be able to do it again. So having that management will definitely work in a very, very long time, and it will bring that momentum and maintain those strategic or those ways that one is doing it to build the industry he or she is building. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Mike. And also, Mr. Mike, there might be something you believe that I do not know, but there might be something, or if there is anything you personally think you believe that are mostly overlooked when it comes to ingredients in building a very, very successful team. In your experience, what do you think is the most thing that is overlooked ingredients in building a championship level team? That means a successful team, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, that's another good question. So I definitely think there's a variety of items that are overlooked. You know, to me, the the importance of knowing when to help and when to back out, right? So in a small business, they're obviously revenue driven. You're not given money by people, you have to go out and earn it. And knowing when it's an appropriate time to let a plate stop spinning and let an issue become more of an issue to show people how the issue could have never gotten there in the first place. But sometimes people don't understand by being told. They understand best by learning. And the only way that they can learn is to have an issue become an issue. And knowing that even though that fire is going to burn brighter and get hotter and become more aggressive, it's solvable. So, purposely allowing that to happen. So then you can ask questions, be a leader, help problem solve, show that most issues are solvable, and then come back and find the impetus of that problem and show how it could have never existed by asking questions, by coaching, by mentoring. And then in your weekly sit downs, find it again and go, hey, didn't we see this a month ago? Oh, yes, we did. Okay. So, what are you going to do to avoid that escalation this time? Letting them take that route, see it work, have an aha moment, and then the issue starts to disappear.
Hmm.
But so many people, especially in a small business, are worried about revenue, 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 that they're going to solve the problem for the person, meaning there's no strategy being built, meaning that problem is now going to be repetitive. So you're not actually growing revenue. You saved revenue on one deal, but it's not going to grow because you're not growing past what's causing that issue.
That is a very, very strategy. Living a life of preparation is very important, honestly speaking, because what if someone can have those type of things in place, then definitely someone can have things that will definitely prevent situations to come up and also build and develop in the life of comfort, because definitely the growth will not come, because when these issues come again you have to settle, you have to check the issue again, things like that come up. So but thinking, asking questions will definitely help the person so one can avoid some situations like that. Thank you so much for those insights, Mr. Mike. And lastly, Mr. Mike, from your experience, what do you think keep personally, this is a personal question, what do you think keep getting you inspired to help others in their full potential when it comes to building a team and also developing an industry, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm comfortable financially, and I worked very hard to get there. Um, I had plenty of plates that stopped spinning. I've lost plenty of times. I've taken my bumps and bruises, and I'm proud of all of that. So now I'm comfortable financially. And I like seeing other people win to start that struggle to get where I'm at. So part of my role is, I get paid based on other people's performance, which is the point, but it's not about, that check cashing, because whether it does or not, I'm doing pretty good. So when I see their checks cash and, see them start to hit the goals, that's why I'm up early, working late, putting in the time. That's, and people say that sometimes they mean it, sometimes they don't. But it's not just saying it, it's, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and living it and, going as hard as you need to and as late as you have to. Um, but if you're really focused, and that's why in this industry you see companies with 50-60% turnover. That's not us. We don't want it. The people above that turnover are making a lot of money off those people's efforts, whether they stay or not. And that's not the model that we have set up. If I have high turnover, I don't have a job in my position, and that's purposeful. So we've just modeled the company differently, where the long term success is my financial play. So I have to actually care how they're doing day to day, minute to minute, hour to hour, or else my long term play doesn't come to fruition. And that
Yes.
was purposeful and by design.
Yeah, exactly. It's very inspiring, definitely. We do know that to get a lot of things in life, there will be a lot of issues and ups and down. And definitely having those development and having strategic plan that will definitely see the future definitely really, really helps. And Mr. Mike, that's a very, very big insight. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Mike. And also, Mr. Mike, there's a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Mr. Mike. From the forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our forefathers' time that is missing in our time today, Mr. Mike. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Mike, what do you think that thing would be, Mr. Mike?
Traditionalism. And, that's a one word statement that encompasses a lot. Um, Hard work. If you're a loser, you're not a winner, right? Nowadays, kids get trophies for being losers. That doesn't promote growth, it hinders growth. Sometimes you got to lose and cry about it and then go win. Um, the idea of not being given stuff and working for it and, getting out there and getting what you want in an honest way. Um, so I'm glad to see traditionalism swinging back into the culture. I think there's a reason that we're where we're at. And, if I was going to point to a list, traditionalism and lack of traditionalism is definitely ranking pretty high on that list.
I completely agree with you. There are a lot of things happening, during this technology time and a lot of development. But definitely, we definitely hope for the best in the coming future, honestly, because a lot of things that a lot of people that are not even meant to be rewarded are even rewarded. Some people have done a lot
Yeah.
of work for years, and definitely, you just see someone that just started and just got everything. It's look traumatizing, and that's why there's a lot of oppression, a lot of anxiety and depression. We do hope that the future continues to bring more brighter things. We do hope that those type of situations come down and end when it gets to a time. It can't be for life. It will definitely come down when the time comes. And I also want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity and the time you've given to me, Mr. Mike. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike.
Hey, thank you so much. And thank you to your audience. Appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
All right, Mr. Mike. Have a wonderful day, Mr. Mike. Bye.
You too. Thank you.